What up, though? I'm Fats.
I'm Tree.
Welcome back to another edition of Fats and
Tree.
Today, what we're going to talk about is the cruise checklist.
Stick around towards the end, and we do have a bonus tip.
First, what we're going to talk about is your passport. Make sure you got your passport up to date and keep it where you can find it.
Yes, you want to make sure that your passport is valid and, you have it ready to go on that cruise.
So next we're going to talk about
is your birth certificate and your ID.
Ooh.
If you don't have your passport, then make sure you have your birth certificate and ID. With Carnival, they do not require you to have a passport because you leaving from a U.S. port and you coming back to a U.S. port. So you do need, if you don't have your passport, you do need your birth certificate and your ID.
And make sure you don't have the one with the footprints on it.
Yes.
Next we're going to talk about is your boarding pass. Make sure you download your boarding pass so you can have it ready for you when you get to the terminal. Because it's a long line and they got to go find out where to download your boarding pass. So make sure you have it ready.
Don't be like Fest from the last cruise that we took. He did not have his. He had to step aside, and then they had to go and print it off for him so that he'll have it so he can show it, because you have to show it through every door, every way that you go on the cruise. Until you get on the ship, you got to show that you have your boarding pass. So if you don't want to step aside and let others come ahead of you, go ahead, download it, print it off, and put it with your documents.
What we're going to talk about is to make sure you download your check-in.
Yes. So online, they're going to tell you, okay, you can check in now. So you pretty much, you're telling them that you have all your information, you have everything up to date. They want you to put your passport information in there, and you're just pre-checking in before you get there. You will have to do it before going on. And it gives you time slots of when you plan to arrive to the ship. That way it cuts down on the lines, and that way you'll have a smooth transition getting onto the ship.
Next we're going to talk about is downloading your luggage tags. You must have a luggage tag or your bag going to get lost. You don't want it to end up in the hands of the wrong person, because it might have something in there valuable. So make sure you get your luggage tag, or it could be sitting somewhere because they don't know who it belongs to.
Yes, so go ahead and print off the luggage tags and attach them to your baggage. That way the porter will know what room you're in so that your luggage will get there. In the event you don't do that and you're still looking for your, go ahead to guest services, and it's probably sitting there waiting on you to claim it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, go ahead, print it off. Next, we're going to talk about the holders. It's good to, some people don't buy the luggage tag holders, but they're good to have. Why? Because that way you're not stapling the luggage tags to your bag, and you can just stick it right into the holder. Very easy.
Yep. So make sure you get your luggage tag holder. That will go with that luggage tag, and it'll make sure that you put it on the suitcase.
Yes.
Next up, we're going to talk about is your health questionnaire.
Most ships require you to do a health questionnaire. They just asking you basic questions about your health. Are you in good health? Do you have this, so that the medical staff will know.
Are you already sick?
So
they know if they want to let you on that.
No, they're going to let you on anyway. Don't listen to him. But they just want you to fill out one.
Next, we're going to talk about is setting up your onboard account.
Yes. Some people put their credit card on there, and then some people do cash. Us, we do cash. Because every time you put a card, or your credit card, your bank card, any of those cards on there, they do hold a lot of money. So they'll start with $200. Once you get to that point, then they'll hold. They'll keep putting holds on your account. So to avoid that, go ahead and set up a cash account today.
That way you know that you got money when you're on there. So make sure you take care.
And then too, once you get to your spending limit, it's good to have a spending limit. Once you get to your spending limit, then guess what? It's done. That way you don't go over what you plan to spend. It's good to have because it helps you manage your money. Next we're going to talk about is your security photo. A lot of the cruise ships require you to do a security photo ahead of time. Sometimes Carnival do it, then sometimes they wait till you get there. Once you get there, they'll have you right at the desk when you check in. Go ahead and take a picture right on there, and that way they'll put it onto your salon sign card. So again, just make sure that you go on to the apps and make sure that you've completed all the steps that you need to complete before boarding. Next, we're going to talk about visa. Some places that you go require you to have a passport and visa. When we went to Cuba, we had to retain both. We had our passport and then we had to retain a visa. If you have to retain a visa, please do it within 30 days prior to you going. That way you can contact the embassy and get it done. That's another step of getting into different areas of the country. So again, make sure you have your visa. If you don't always need a visa, but some places require it. Just make sure you have it.
Next up, we're going to talk about the emergency contact. This is my wife. She's my emergency contact, but she's on the ship with me. So you will have to pick someone that you can trust to handle your business just in case you have an emergency. So that way, if you need to talk to somebody about that, go into the deep now.
I know with us, what we do is we use our parents. So he'll use his mom and I'll use my daughter. Mm-hmm. And that way, they're not with us. They're here where we live. So that way, if anything happens, they can contact them for us. So again, just have your emergency contacts updated and together.
Yep. Next up, we're going to talk about is make sure you have the names of all of your medicines, just in case that you have a name of those medicines. Just in case you have to receive medical assistance, and they're going to ask you, are you on any kind of medication? What medications do you take? You need to make sure that you have these medicines labeled when you have them with you.
And it's good to know what medicines you take and what the side effects are. So just have a little book listed with all your stuff. We take something like this with us, and then we keep it so that we'll have like emergency contact, a list of medicines, all that. That way, because sometimes when you're looking for something, you forget. So that way we won't forget. We can pull that out and we can show them.
Yep. Next up.
Next we're going to talk about is the hotel information. If you're arriving the day before, and you're going to stay after you disembark on the cruise, you're going to stay in the area in which you are, like for example Miami. So you're going to arrive the day before in Miami, then you're going to stay an extra day after the cruise. Make sure you have all your hotel information of where you need to be at and go, because it ain't like trying to find a hotel and you're trying to look it up and all that. So just put it in your little book, the address. Then when you take an Uber or Lyft and they're asking you, okay, where you're going, or a taxi, and you tell them, okay, I'm going to the Holiday Inn on downtown. That way you will know what's the address, everything. When I'm in an Uber, Lyft, or a cab, and I am looking for the hotel in the areas that we go in, we always don't know where they are. I do follow the Lyft driver, Uber driver, to make sure that he's going the right route. So I do turn my app on, and if he takes a wrong turn, I say, no sir, you're supposed to take the left turn, not the right turn. That way, we can be safe. So that's a good thing to do too. If you know you're taking a Lyft or Uber and you know that they're going the wrong direction, or you feel as though, just follow them along on the app and you'll be safe.
And the reason why we say this, because about maybe 5 years ago, we went to a port in California, and the cab driver rode us around and they charged us $100 for a ride because he claimed he did not know where to go.
Because they said they have 2 ports in California.
Yeah.
And I'm telling him the address is this. So what he did, he was very sneaky, and he tried to just ride around and let the cab fare build up so that we can pay them. They do that with a lot of travelers. They try to make your bills filled up. And I'm telling him, no, sir, you're supposed to take a left turn. He took a right turn. I said, look, you're doing the wrong thing. You know, I refused to pay him. I got out and I gave him what what the cab fare was worth, and that was it. So again, that helps as well. Next, we're going to talk about having your transportation information. Same thing. Make sure you know how you're going to get to the port and how you're going to leave the port. So just have your transportation information. Again, it's safe to go ahead and track them as they're going along the way. Because if you're going back to a hotel that you left when you first came in, then you want to make sure they're going that same route to get you back to where you're supposed to be. Just track them. It'll be safe for you.
So we're going to talk about your flight information.
Yes. Make sure you have that written down. What time you're supposed to be there. International flights, you know you got to be there 3 hours ahead. Sometimes regular flights is 2 hours. I always show up at least 3 hours ahead, whether it's international or not, because I want to make sure. And then it's a crowd. It's a crowd there. You want to get past the crowd. You want to get your breakfast, anything you want to eat or drink. So go ahead, and that way you can just sit down and enjoy yourself, and you're not rushing from one point to a next point, rushing, trying to get there. Because as soon as you do the TSA checkpoint, your gate might be way across on the other side of the airport. So you got to get from the TSA checkpoint in the front to the back of the airport. So again, just make sure that you have everything, your flight information in order.
And be on time.
Yes.
Next up, we're going to talk about the excursion reservations.
When you arrive to the ports and you know you have an excursion, make sure that you know where you're supposed to be. Most Carnival excursions, they usually tell you to meet in certain locations and y'all all go together. That way you don't get lost. So again, just make sure you know what excursion, what time you're supposed to meet there, and that way you can get off when you're supposed to.
Last but not least, the most important, the bonus tip of the day.
The bonus tip of today is make sure you download your Carnival Hub app.
Make sure.
You're doing your checklist. You're trying to make sure that you have everything in order. So now is the time to make sure you look at your phone and see if your Carnival Hub app is downloaded. If it's not, go ahead to the App Store and download it. Because you done did your checklist to make sure you have everything ready. So now the Carnival Hub app is the last thing you need to look for. If you like this video,
subscribe, give us a thumbs up.
Let us
know how you like this video.
Subscribe to our channel because we have a lot more content coming out for first-time cruisers. We're trying to make sure that you know what to do when you get on the ship, because you're a first-time cruiser don't mean you don't know. It's good to have the knowledge before you get on the ship.
Peace, love, and cruising.